Well, good morning, everyone. I will now call to order this February 12th, 2026 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners business meeting. County Administrator Gary Smith, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Chair, thank you. First, our staff support today, County Counsel Billy Williams, Clerk to the Board Andrew Jaraki. Roll call, Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner Helm.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Chair Roberts.
Here. And thank you, Gary. Will you now please stand, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first thing up is public communication and testimonies limited to 3 minutes per person. And as always, I ask comments to be respectful and courteous. As a reminder, you can also email submissions for public communication at bcc@clackamas.us, and they'll be accepted as part of the public record. I'll take in-person testimony first. I will then transition to online virtual testimony. And I would ask our clerk, Andrew, to go ahead and proceed with the testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you are attending this meeting in person and wish to comment during general public communication, this is a reminder to please fill out a blue card and deposit in the box that can be found by the center doors. I will call on them in the order that they are received. You will come forward, introduce yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes. First, I see Mr. Steve Bates. Mr. Bates, please come forward and introduce yourself.
Good morning.
Good morning.
For the record, with Chair Roberts and Commissioners, for the record, I'm Steve Bates, a 49-year resident of Boring in Clackamas County. Last September, I was here and shared with you concerns from the community of Boring about the poor condition of the Boring Station Trailhead Park. Over the past 5 months, we have had several communications with the Department of Transportation and Development and the Clackamas County Parks Department. Our review of the situation at hand brought out these facts. DOTD made Clackamas County Parks a self-sufficient department, making it rely only on fees. Clackamas County Parks, as a result, became underfunded and short-staffed. The park in Boring is not the only county park asset that has been neglected. The only solution is funding Clackamas County Parks with some general fund money. You have a copy of a letter from the community of Boring that recommends and requests the County Commission to allocate $500,000 from the general fund to Clackamas County Parks every year so that the Parks Department can hire staff and take care of our park system properly. Attached to that letter is a synopsis of the 2019 Services Survey. If you will notice, the only service that DOTD provides in the top 10 is county parks. It's the people of Clackamas County identified funding Clackamas County Parks number 6 out of 40 categories. Your constituents prioritize county parks as an important service to be funded. Please do as the people of Clackamas County have said, fund our parks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bates.
Next, I see Kelly Bartholomew. Kelly Bartholomew, please come forward.
With Ed Wagner.
I'll also invite Mr. Ed Wagner, who I also see a card next to Ms. Bartholomew's.
So Chair and Commissioners, we've talked before this. Ms. Bartholomew reached out to staff yesterday, asked if they could have a little bit more time to talk about the Stafford PGE transmission lines, and Chair Roberts agreed. So a total of 10 minutes for both of them to speak. And we have staff in the room, Caleb and Dan. I'm going to ask you to come forward now and sit next to Billy, and you can help answer any questions the board may have. Back to you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Morning, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning. We have watched intently the last 2 meetings that you had last week and the week before to address this project, and we appreciate your time with that. The last meeting was left off in where this board was interested in taking some proactive steps and you are going to provide a letter to PGE and possibly to LUBA. And we just wanted to see where the board is now in that process.
All right. Caleb?
The last time I spoke to you about this, we advised you that it was not a good idea to send a letter to LUBA. LUBA does not function like agencies that accept public testimony. It receives motions and briefs and similar legal filings, not letters. And that was the direction that we received, to not send the letter to LUBA.
All right. And then, Gary, my understanding the letter was sent to PG, is that correct?
You did send a letter from the board that all 5 of you signed to Portland General Electric. The staff has acknowledged they received the letter, and we'll report back to you next week after we have some staff conversations about that.
We can comment on, this is Ed Wagner, Stafford Road. We could comment on that. It appears that PG may have had advance notice as the construction Monday morning had not begun. And it's understanding they received the letter on Tuesday. So for whatever the reason may be, it appears, other than some additional tree cutting, that the pole installations have subsided, at least for the moment.
Thank you for that update. I am not an attorney. I've been involved in this process for almost 3 years now. I have been attacked by PGE attorneys for 2 years trying to navigate the legal process as a pro se person. I have been personally attacked. Yesterday, your counsel spent his 5 minutes trying to figure out how to sanction me and punish me because I miscited sources. So I have been trying to stand up for this community for 3 years against a huge agency that's with very aggressive attorneys, as Commissioner West says, more attorneys than God, okay? And we have asked for this board to stand up for our community and take every step possible. And I realize that your counsel is advising you against doing anything else because it's in the process, but the process is a rolling boulder because once it gets started, it doesn't stop, okay? So it goes through LUBA, and then LUBA approves it, and then it goes to the appeals court, and we're done because we don't have another $300,000 to fight in the appeals court. So we are asking you to step in because this is not a precedent-setting project because other scenic roads have this. It's because PGE has a concerted plan to expand transmission networks all through this county because the power crisis that we are in right now. Federal Energy Regulatory Commission did a study last year. Residential power usage is like this. Industrial and data center is like this, okay? So to make our communities in this county have giant transmission lines over their homes through scenic roads, clear cutting, to accommodate this power crisis is absurd. And when I tried to get to the heart of the necessity of this line, you know what PG did? They redacted the data and said I couldn't see it because I couldn't be trusted because I didn't have an attorney. So I was on to their data. They didn't like it, so they redacted the data and figured out how they could discredit me so that I wasn't able to see the data. Then when their necessity became questionable, they lobbied the legislator to pass House Bill 3681. Now there is no necessity requirement. Now you are the last stop to be able to stop this. And I realize, counsel, this would be a huge pain for your counsel to go against PGE because they have more attorneys than God. I know. I've been dealing with it for 3 years. So, and that would be a huge pain for them because then they would have to go against. So it's much easier to roll over and let LUBA deal with it. And I get that. And they're going to advise you against a voluntary remand because we should just let LUBA go through the process. And it's past oral arguments, and they don't usually issue them after that. I don't care what there is a LUBA rule that can be done. I realize that they don't want you to do that because it's a pain, and nobody wants to fight PGE. Nobody. And so I'm asking this board to take every step you can to protect this, because once you cross this Rubicon, let me tell you, if they can, there's a giant portion of this project that has no existing utility lines, 0. And they're calling this maintenance and upgrade. How do you upgrade an approximate 1-mile section that has no lines right now? That is not maintenance, that is not upgrade. That is new infrastructure. But they're squeezing through by telling you it's maintenance and upgrade when they told the PUC this is new construction, because the PUC, they can get rate increases by building new construction. So the story changes depending where they are. And if you allow this to go through, I guarantee you, those lines that you see on Stafford Road, they will be over every home. They will be over through all of our scenic resources. So if you profess to really want to protect the resources of this county, I am asking that this board step up now with every legal tool you have. That is what we are asking.
I guess from my standpoint, and I think maybe a few of the board members, based upon some of the comments last Thursday in particular, is that we truly believe that PG all along has been very opaque and in many cases has misled the community, the board, and more importantly, the planning department. I'd like to give you a very, very crisp example of that. We have consistently indicated that this is precedent setting. And what we meant by that, and was misinterpreted by the planning department, and I quote, we got nothing to lose here today. It was quoted by one of the members of the planning department that this is not precedent setting because PG already has transmission lines on scenic roads. That wasn't the issue. We know there's transmission lines on scenic roads. It already exists on the section that's being demolished right now. Those are transmission lines right now from Rosemont to Borland. What the precedent setting, and to Kelly's point, is that nowhere in Clackamas County, nowhere, are there on any rural road or any neighborhood road, or especially on any scenic road, even though PG likes to claim these 8 scenic roads that they want to reference in their document, those are 60 to 70-foot wood poles, what you traditionally see driving on the roads today. The precedent setting and what we're trying to prevent from happening all through Clackamas County are these of 100 to 130-foot steel poles. You see them, you've looked at them now, and in our presentation, we went through all the data. I analyzed every single poll that PG had on their website. They did a great job. They showed the existing and what the anticipated after it's going to look like. You can't get the magnitude of the impact by looking at an 8 by 10 piece of paper, what a 60-foot pole looks like versus a 130-foot pole. And that data is from their data, and we did all the analysis. They showed the before and after heights, and we did all the analysis. The average pole height will range between 1.75 and 2.0. But the reality of the situation is we fought really hard with ZDO 288. This was from the planning department. They wanted to essentially give PG electrical utility companies a rubber stamp within and outside of right-of-way. We won that because the planning commissioners understood ultimately the impact, and the board here voted 4-1 to disapprove that policy. It was made in that meeting that that was a big concession. It wasn't a concession. That was the rule, that transmission lines came under the guise of requiring a CUP. So there was no concession there. And so the reality of the situation is that why this is so important, the legacy of this board is on the line. I can't say it any clearer in this. I know it's difficult to go in at this point. We recognize that. We weren't even allowed at the LUBA meeting on Tuesday to even reference, to go look at the polls, because it's not in the record. These polls started getting installed after we issued our appeal. Last comment, if this thing gets approved and all these polls go up, it'll be just like the ZDO 288. It'll be a rubber stamp for PGA to go in anywhere they want to put transmission lines with these huge poles, call it maintenance and upgrade, and the precedent will have already been set by the county There'll be no way to refute it. It's already a done deal. And it's not just Stafford Road we're fighting for. We're fighting for all of Clackamas County because there's already plans to put these transmission lines on other rural roads here. And just one last thing, I'm sorry to take one extra minute.
That's all right.
We've always questioned why it was so important for this section of line. They always came up with, first when they came here to the county, it was to help with the growth in the southern metro. Then they went to the PUC, it was because of the water plant over in Sherwood. And we've never really understand that, and this is very preliminary, and it's a document that we just got yesterday. It's not conclusive, but it appears that there are 2 data centers being planned as we speak, and that's what we suspect this is all about. So I'd like, if I can, submit this to, you can review it for yourself. I've blacked out who it's from. It's from a technical expert. His take on it is more, it should be a data center rate increase versus a ratepayer increase.
I also wanted to, for the record, I realize your counsel is advising you against this, but I would like you to know the LUBA rule that allows for voluntary remand. And also PGE, he also told me I shouldn't come talk to you, that I should just go through him. But I figured you're my elected official, so I should be able to talk to you. But this is a letter from the Safe Stafford Road attorney that PGE is currently in violation of the permit, which is an enforcement issue, not a legal issue. We understand that. But this is a copy of that letter. They are not following the fire mitigation standards that were imposed by the permit. This is the LUBA Rule 28.8.9 that allows for voluntary remand if the county chooses to reconsider their decision. So I have copies of each.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
We could go on and on, but thank you so much for granting us this extra time
Yeah.
this morning.
Yeah.
This is this is the end of the road. It's certainly the end of the road for us. We're out of money. We can't take this to the next court level for an appeal. So, thank you.
We hope you guys stand up for this county for
So
once.
before you leave, just 1 second, if you could have a seat there just for a moment. First of all, thank you for coming. And it is our job to listen. And it's our responsibility to really look at what all the options are. And I just want you to know, from when we first met, I know you've met with the other commissioners. We hear your concern. I can guarantee you I can't even tell you how many conversations with council and others about what we can and can't do, and that we definitely hear you loud and clear. And I, just like you, for example, when I first came to my attention, my first question is, well, why don't they go along the freeway, right? And there are challenges I was told about ODOT and others.
Right, which is, questionable, right? It's a choice. It's a choice. It's not impossible. It's ease for them. It's cheaper for them. So you need to think about what's better for us, not what's good for them.
Right, and so I have some of the same questions you have, right? And have had lots of conversation with staff trying to get a better understanding about that. I can see that those transmission lines in that area would not be attractive, simply put. And so I just think that wanted to give my colleagues a chance to make any comments, and then kind of have a comment from Caleb, kind of what we can and can't do. So Commissioner Helm.
So just to help me, and maybe this is a Caleb or Dan question, Kelly mentioned, or Ed mentioned the 4-1 vote that was done. When was that done? Just curious.
I think it was August of 24.
Okay, that's because I'm trying to say, I'm going, this is sort of new to me, but not new to me. I know I've had many explanations, but I do want to just say that I share your concern about precedent setting. And because Clackamas County is a beautiful county, and what this could turn into gravely concerns me. So we have been told that there's very little we can do. This is out of our hands. And I I don't disagree with you that there are things we can do, but I'm worried that we're kind of at the end of the line and what could happen next. But we are still working on it. I do want you to know that we are still working on
Well,
it.
the irony to us is that it seems like a complete violation of the county's own description protecting the scenic road designation from the comprehensive plan. Does that look like they're protecting the scenic road? It's the word you use, Commissioner Savas, the pastoral aesthetic of our area?
That just got clear cut. The county just clear cut
and
a
that's what-
rural scenic road for a road project, and now they paved the way for these industrial poles. That's not protecting at all.
We knew,
A designated scenic road in the comprehensive plan that's supposed to have visual characteristics appropriate to the setting. How is that? The hearings officer said it's fine because other roads have them, but he didn't say how poles of this height, are they appropriate for this setting? That's a plan violation, blatantly.
Commissioner West has a comment. Go ahead.
Are you?
I'm done.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right. No,
So the previous board took this issue up, and now this current board is still dealing with this issue, unfortunately, that we still have to, tackle it. I do want to let you know, and government may not always appear to be responsive, or often isn't the way that we want or we feel like is fast enough or gets it done the way we'd like to see. But I do believe this board has. You feel free to interject.
Sorry, we are very grateful to this board for allowing us to be heard. It is not about being heard. You have listened to us. You really have. It's not about being heard. It's about what is done with that information that you are hearing.
And I, so yeah, thank you. But here's my frustration, is I do feel powerless within the scope of the office we hold.
you're not.
That is not clear to us totally.
But you're not.
The appropriate action we take within the scope as commissioners. And the reason why we wanted to hear you, one, is because we work for you. That's the truth. You're the constituent. And we care deeply about that. But beyond hearing you and doing the things we've done, we've always done that trying to represent you. I have not, in my elected capacity, have had much of an interest in worrying about the success or the vitality of PGE, the utility behemoth with more lawyers than God in revenue, and state authority and legislative authority to do these types of things on scenic highways and in our community. I have, I'm a nurse by trade. I'm sure you guys, you're not a lawyer either. I have to rely on the truthfulness and the virality of the counsel I get from our attorneys on what's the best action for the county as a whole to take in this issue. And I share your frustration. If I could do something more, I think if this board had the authority to do a lot more, we would.
You guys, this is your staff. You guys are in charge. You three could vote right now and say, we would like to submit this. We know it might not be the best or path because PGE might sue us until the cows come home and we might be in litigation forever. But this is what we're going to do for our constituents. You have the power to do that. And I know maybe he says it's not legally advisable and maybe it's not, but it's your choice. You guys are making the choice not to take a step that is available legally to you. So I just want to make that clear. You're not powerless, okay? I've been researching this stuff. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what the proper procedure or how to properly cite sources or but I can look up what the law is. And that's an option that LUBA has in its books. That printout I gave you is from the LUBA website, okay? And I know your counsel's advising you against that because he would be in litigation probably forever. PGE would come back and sue and say, you can't remand this, and then he would have to write a million briefs again, and it would be a huge pain. But please, for the love of God, don't tell me that you're powerless right now, because you're not. You guys are in charge, okay? This is your staff. This is your commission. You could all vote now and say, we want to take this step. So I don't buy the we're helpless I don't. I've been doing this for 3 years, not knowing anything and having no legal advice at all. So, stand up for the people. Don't be afraid of PGE. Don't be afraid of, council telling you it's the wrong step, because nobody wants to, and if you let this go through LUBA, you're on their terms, okay? If they remand it, you're gonna do what they tell you to do. If you remand it and say, we wanna reconsider, that's your terms. If they say, okay, it's discretionary, they might say no, because we're past oral arguments and that's not normal. But if you ask for a remand, it's under your conditions, okay? You decide, okay? They might not grant it. That is true. That is LUBA's discretion. But you have a choice.
Dan and Caleb, if we were to do this remand back to us, if that's even a possibility, I have no idea. I've never heard this before. If that is an option within the authority of the board, I don't know if you can tell us if it is or isn't. How also, then what? To what end? And then what would have to be probably have a actual justification to remand for some change that is necessary or unprecedented to take that type of action to be viable. Can you speak? If it's a novel, creative way that we should look at, I'm willing to listen. Could you please advise?
Yeah, I have a few points, commissioners. The first point is that this board will never play a role in deciding whether or not the approval criteria for this project are or are not met. The code gives that to the hearings officer. Point two is, if theoretically you could move for a voluntary remand, it would not go back to you to decide what to change. It would go back to the hearings officer, and in that situation, the hearings officer would not have the benefit of LUBA's opinion about what they need to do differently on remand. It would be sending it back to the hearings officer with no reason to do anything differently, and they might very well adopt the same decision, and we would be back here, and PGE would be delayed, would be the effective result of that. The LUBA rule that you have been provided is not a LUBA rule. It's 28.8.9 or something like that is the number. That is a printout from LUBA's website. Those are not rules. Those are headnotes, which is a collection of case summaries over the course of LUBA's long history. And some of the cases in those summaries have been overturned, including the one that Ms. Bartholomew is relying on here today by the Oregon Court of Appeals. My interpretation of the Court of Appeals case is that after the record is filed in most cases, the only way a case is voluntarily remanded before LUBA issues a decision on the merits is if all the parties agree. And we explained this on Tuesday, that PGE is not going to agree to a voluntary remand. It's our office's opinion that that LUBA does not have authority to grant a motion like that were it filed. And even if it were filed, PGE would have 14 days to respond, and it is very likely that LUBA would issue its final decision before it issued a decision on that motion for voluntary remand anyways. Another point I want to clarify, precedent setting. There is no approval criterion for a conditional use permit for transmission lines that says, do lines like this exist in other similar situations? The approval criteria are judged case by case, project by project. The fact that these lines have been approved on Stafford Road would not be dispositive of applications in the future in different circumstances for different transmission lines on different roads. I want to talk about this advising or requesting that Ms. Bartholomew not communicate with you. You're obviously her elected representatives, and she has every right to come to you to advocate for policy changes, but what happened earlier this week was advising you, the board, on your legal options. That is the role of this office, and I advised Ms. Bartholomew that if she has similar communications concerning your options in this appeal, they should come through our office. That is the proper avenue. The last point I want to make is, of course, ironic that you've been provided with a LUBA rule that is in fact not a LUBA rule, and you're being told, well, anyone can look up what the law is, even if they are not lawyers. In this particular appeal, Ms. Bartholomew filed a brief citing 18 cases. 13 of them did not exist. They were fake. They were generated by AI. The other 5 cases were cited for propositions that they did not contain, and quotes were provided that were not in the opinions. This likely results from the use of artificial intelligence. Just last year, the Oregon Court of Appeals explained the, quote, exceptionally grave situation presented by such citations, where a lawyer provides fake case citations. It's a violation of their professional duties. And attorney fees were awarded in that case last year from the Court of Appeals. But even where a lawyer is not involved, it is a strain on judicial resources, the public's resources, and the court said it threatens the rule of law. This is a serious situation. If my oral argument on Tuesday, well, I should say my oral argument on Tuesday should have reflected that seriousness. I'm happy to answer any other questions. I hope that responds to yours, Commissioner West.
Well, I do have a question. You didn't debate one of the three issues that Ms. Bartholomew brought up in your time that you chose to debase Kelly in both the issue that you just brought up. She had apologized ahead of time. She was relying upon AI, and that unfortunately ended up being an error. And she acknowledged that, she apologized for that, and then you brought up the IGA, which the IGA was only resolved, to my knowledge, with an email I got by the county and the cities getting together and acknowledging that, in fact, you all agreed that this project did not impact the IGA. So my real question to you, sir, is of the three issues that she did bring up, was she in error in quoting any statute or any OAR relative to her comments at the Luba testimony?
Would you like me to respond?
Well, I think we're kind of at a point right now where our goal today is to listen to you and really not necessarily want to get into a debate back and forth. I'd rather have you sit down with the county administrator or others and have a further discussion about it. So
We would encourage that.
yeah, so I'd like to kind of move on, and unless either one of my colleagues had a final important point to
Just
make.
one quick question, and I don't know if this is for Dan or Caleb, but I was told that generally we don't have land use issues where PGE wants to come and use our right-of-way. But this is one where an application had to be done. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, Caleb, I might need your help here for 1 second. But historically, we have done little to no land use authorization for utilities. And that was the interpretation of our zoning and development ordinance. There was, we were enlightened through discussions, through some of their council dialogue, that there was a differing opinion. County council, namely Caleb to my right, advised us that they are correct. These should go through a land use process. The Board of County Commissioners directed staff to assess and make recommendations and establish a procedure. That's the ZDO amendment that was referred to for certain utilities to be reviewed. And the Board of County Commissioners went through a process to review, because in theory, this deals to all utilities, above ground, below ground, it dealt with everything. So the prior board made a decision to ensure there was a public process when looking at transmission lines, electrical in nature, of the size, scope, and scale. And so they essentially required a land use process to take place, a conditional use process to take place for utilities of this nature. That process, when these individuals, these citizens refer to like the ZDO, the planning staff and the hearings officer, that was the conditional use that took place and the decision that was rendered.
Okay, thank you for that explanation.
Can I finish my last?
Yeah, real quickly. Go ahead.
So, I mean, thank you for fighting like hell for your community. I do not begrudge you for that, and to try to do everything as a layperson to figure that out. Like, I commend you for that, for engaging in the best way you could. You know, we have legislative partners in this too. And you probably heard me speak to this in the last couple meetings. Yeah. Have you guys looked at it? I'm just curious. You've heard me talk about our state representatives and legislation to help bring some local control back to this issue for your fight? Could you speak to that? I'm just curious.
Yes. Jules Walters has been incredibly supportive of us, and she lobbied for us in Salem against House Bill 3681 because it basically took the public out of the process and the necessity out of the CPCN. And she said that wasn't right, and she was one of the people that was staunchly against that bill. It ended up passing with 4 sentences sandwiched in the middle of an energy facility citing council bill that basically gutted the mission of the PUC to prove necessity and safety. So that is no longer a requirement for them. She's been very supportive, and we have not been as supportive in enlisting Rob Wagner, but we continue to try.
Yeah, we've tried many times to get an audience with Rob Wagner, and it's been futile, unfortunately.
All right. Commissioner Schrader had a comment, and then we need to kind of move on.
I think what I'm curious about, so you are, if I understand what you've been saying, you're assuming that these are really going in for huge data centers?
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
That there's documentation that there's going to be all of,
The data
because they are a huge drain on energy and water.
So
how?
So as I
I just-
indicated, this is news. We've had this question for 3 years because it didn't make sense to us. Because the new memorial station just came online in Wilsonville that provides all the additional capacity that is needed. And so this is what's called an N-1-1 line, which means it's a backup to a backup. And our technical experts have indicated this almost never happens. The only time it really happens is if they shut down one line for maintenance. So the information I just handed over to Mr. Schmidt is something we just got yesterday. We can't corroborate at this point, but it does send some alarm bells up that there appear to be plans to add 2 data centers as part of the Tonkin project. And obviously, we can't corroborate at this point, but it does kind of give a sense to, after 3 years of asking, why is it so damn important to do this? 2 reasons. Number one, if they can get through this process and get it approved, they'll never have to go through this again. It'll be a rubber stamp, essentially. They'll still have to go through conditional use, as specified by Mr. Johnson. But the other thing is that this could very well be a service that will help facilitate additional data centers and the big technology that's out in Sherwood. So,
All right. Thank you very much.
thank you kindly for your time today.
Thank you
We
so
really
much.
appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Andrew.
Mr. Chair, with your approval, we'll continue with public communication. This is a final call if you're attending this meeting in person and have not yet had the opportunity to speak, to please fill out a blue card and deposit in the box found by the center doors. Mr. Chair, seeing no other members of the public physically present and wish to comment, with your permission, I'll move to those attending virtually. If you're attending this meeting virtually and wish to comment during general public communication, this is your opportunity to please raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that I see. This is a final call. If you're attending this meeting virtually and wish to speak, to please raise your hand. Mr. Chair, I see no other members of the public, either physically or virtually present, who wish to speak during general public communication today.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. I'll now close the public communication portion of today's meeting, and I'll turn to Gary as to what you have next, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Next is a presentation, another business development spotlight. Today is recognizing Lock Buildings here in Clackamas County. Laura Edmonds, the Economic Development Manager for the county, will present, and the Chief Executive Officer of Lock Buildings, Mr. Steve Locke, is also here to speak with you. So welcome, Laura and Mr. Locke.
All
All
right.
right.
Welcome.
Good morning. I'm Laura Edmonds, Manager of the Office of Economic Development, and joining us today is Steve Locke, owner of Lock Buildings out of Estacada. So we're excited to be before you again today. This is our 5th video in the series representing the business development grants that you have chosen to invest in the business community to be able to support business retention and expansion efforts throughout the county. So just a little housekeeping and a reminder that was approved back in May of, the videos were approved May of 2025. And the video production funding is through Office of Economic Development lottery funds, as well as budgeted county general funds supporting the Public and Government Affairs Department. So with that, it's an amazing opportunity just to showcase the investment that you have selected to make in the county, and we appreciate that very much. So the spotlights are shortened versions of the full-length videos that are accessible on our website and are also promoted throughout social media and our community partners throughout the county. So Lock Buildings, located in Estacada, is a rapidly growing manufacturer of prefabricated building kits. They're a 2024 grant recipient that received $26,000 for a capital project to acquire and customize a new delivery truck. And that truck allowed them to expand their distribution area and improve delivery efficiency. So we're going to watch the video, and then Steve is going to be able to answer any questions and have dialogue with you. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
I'm Steve Locke. I'm the founder of Lock Buildings. We build pole buildings and we sell pole building kits to the greater Northwest, to homeowners and contractors that build themselves. And we supply them all the products they need to construct with plans, installation manual, and even tutorial videos. One of the things about Lock Buildings, which is unique, is that we don't just sell kits and materials. We actually have built over 5,000 buildings ourselves. So we have immense knowledge in this industry. And not only have we been extensively focused specifically in pole buildings for over 28 years, we have developed our own unique methods, the Lock method. And one of those methods are we'll build the whole roof system on the ground and raise the whole roof system up in one unit.
We were looking at getting a new truck, and the grant provided the opportunity for us to go ahead and move forward with that project sooner than expected. It's a newer truck with a higher capacity, better fuel efficiency, and we were able to acquire it and get it equipped the way we needed it. We customized a bed that was built specifically for that truck that helps us carry longer length items and more complete packages without having to make multiple deliveries. We were able to customize the truck, and those customizations happened by local businesses. Right here in Eagle Creek in Clackamas County, we had fabricators that worked on the truck. We had a local sign company from Estacada that was able to put our logos and badging on the truck.
Every penny from this grant has gone right back into the Clackamas County area.
Since receiving the grant, we've seen an increase in our kit sales. It's enabled us to expand into further areas in Eastern Oregon and Washington, making those deliveries and servicing those areas a lot easier and making us more competitive by keeping our costs down on delivery. Our sales are growing, which has given us the opportunity to give both more hours to our current employees and looking at hiring new employees as well. We love working in Clackamas County. It's one of the most business-friendly counties in the state of Oregon. They've come beside us along with the enterprise zone that was enabled us to move into the industrial park here and help keep costs down as we were starting up and expanding a new part of our business. They've helped us to grow, and they're just great partners in every way.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice. So questions, colleagues? I don't know who wants to start. I know we all have questions. So I think Ben was first to get his light on, followed by Martha.
Good morning, Steve. How are you? It's good to see you again.
Yes, sir.
Hey, guys, don't know if you know this, but Mr. Michael McElroy, yeah, he's not here, but who works for this company is an Estacada city councilor. And Commissioner Helm, I got to know Michael because we had some permitting issues with the county that we were trying to work through.
Oh my, imagine that.
And so this company and this team, we built a relationship with just trying to be better at permitting and taking care of local businesses and builders and developers and streamlining issues that they were facing. We built relationship to that. I hope we were more responsive, sir, to those needs that you were having and more tailored to those permitting issues that you were brought to our attention, a few months ago. If we need us to work on it, we will. But it's great to see you here today. It's a fantastic business that's, definitely Clackamas County centric. I've had the honor to get to know your team a little bit and appreciate the relationship that we're building so we can both mutually find the benefit of the economic development that you bring to the county. So the fantastic video. Congratulations on the grant. I hope it is useful to the growth of your company and the ability to reinvest in Clackamas County. And I know firsthand that your company does amazing work, employs great people in the county, and is part of the vitality of our local community. And we appreciate you and honor the work that you do every single day. So with that, I'll pass the baton, but it's really great to see you again today, sir.
Thanks. Martha?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I visited your place a couple of years ago, if I'm not.
Yeah, might
ago.
have.
I probably
Well,
did.
come on
but
down.
I'll come
Okay.
out again to see, because I toured the whole area there, your whole industrial park area, and Estacade is booming. All the new housing, the people, if we could just get some natural gas out there, that would be great too. But I also want to give a shout out to Laura for all the work she's doing with our businesses here to showcase them and really help us be perceived as the business-friendly county in the metropolitan area.
Great. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you. I haven't had the pleasure, but I've done some tours out there, so I'm sure it's next on my list of places to visit. But it really excites me to hear that you were able to hire more people and bring more jobs to your community. Estacade is growing so quickly, and I'm a big believer in working close to where you live and not driving from the east side of the Portland area to the west side, right? And getting more cars off the road. So I appreciate that. One thing that kind of surprises me is that $26,000 and knowing how much things cost doesn't seem like much towards how much retrofitting one of those trucks is. Yeah. I mean, maybe it didn't make a dent and you had to throw in a lot of your own money, but it probably is not a lot of money in comparison to how much it costs to do that for one of those trucks. And then my only other question for you is, thank you for all the kudos to Clackamas County, but also do let us know if there's anything we could be doing better that we need to maybe be working on. And I know that permitting process we're trying to help with that, streamline it, make it a little easier. But if there's anything else and we're working on childcare issues in Clackamas County, and addressing issues that some employers are having. If there's any other ways we can help you, besides monetarily, we're here to help. So I appreciate your presentation today.
And Commissioner, we met with him and Dan, Michael and Dan specifically, and had a long meeting around some ridiculous permitting issues that they were facing that just weren't common sense. So we're trying. Okay. I hope we've seen some improvement there.
I would have to refer to Mike, but I know there's been progress.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it. And it's just really about serving the client, the customers, and trying to, we're intimately involved in building permits and things, and so appreciate that, Ben. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Salvas.
Yep. Good to see you, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being an employer and a business owner in Clackamas County. It's appreciated. I really acknowledge, number one, your spread of businesses. I mean, your buildings. Every building you build has to be permitted to be installed, right?
Pretty much, yes.
And you have to have all the engineering, and you got that staff. And I do know that for being a commissioner here 15 years, first thing I heard has been about permitting challenges, right? And we have done over the 15 years quite a bit of improvement in that area. But in this world, state laws and everything and trying to comply and all the challenges with wetlands and all those things I'm sure you're aware of. It makes it more challenging. So we are, I believe in continuous improvement. It's not that we're going to be, say, here it is, we're not going to try to improve. We're always going to be trying to improve. So I just want to say that I appreciate you reaching out to us for that help, and keep on doing what you're doing. I did have one question, though. You
Yes,
also
sir.
do metal buildings too, right?
Well, the physical structure is wood. It's metal siding, but we have a method that's unique to this area that we're doing a new structure that's actually competes with the steel structures and the steel frame. We're building, we use brackets that go in the ground. So the poles on a pole building, you might know, it's a lot of times a horse arenas and things like that, shops, but they are brackets with glue lamp poles, and we're doing them up to 120 feet clear span. So it's an area that we're really moving into, the industrial commercial building space, larger projects, and Mike is going to be kind of the spearhead of that. And we've done a lot of big buildings, multi-million-dollar situations. And so, yeah, that's an area that we're getting more into. But you asked about steel structures, and it's not exactly a steel structure. It's wood structures with metal siding usually.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes, sir.
Just a couple quick questions and comments. First of all, I just have to say Estacada is one of the most beautiful areas of this county, and seeing the industrial park thrive out there, and the city leaders are doing a great job out there. It's very exciting. I had just kind of a couple questions for you. I was first wanted to know kind of your distribution area. How far do you guys go to deliver these?
Our criteria today is if we could drive there in one day, we'll go that far. So we go to Boise.
Wow.
So all of Oregon, we're really, our main right now is Oregon and Washington, the entire state. But we do, next year, we're looking Idaho. And, home base is right here in Estacada.
Nice.
And so that is our region. It's our kits, we're contractors. And we have a contractor, coaching program that we help contractors do better. We're into coaching. We like to coach and help other businesses grow too. We've helped stand up many contractors, and help them stand up, support them, coach, learn how to do better. It's challenging to start up a new business. I know. Not many of them last over 5 years, honestly. So anyways, that's the thing we have going, developing teams all over Oregon, Washington, helping them do well in their areas where they're at. But the kids come right here from home base.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like, which I heard in the video, which is really, you should be applauded for, is you turn around and hire other companies to help accomplish some of the stuff that you're wanting to do. I heard you say Eagle Creek, which was great to hear. One of the questions I had for you was just how many employees do you have?
Well, we have about 50, and some of them now are subcontractors because they were employees. But like I said, we have empowered and trained some of our employees because, there's a cap on hourly you can make, and they want to make more. So there's another level. So we've helped some of our internal crews get licensed and bonded, but they're licensed, their own companies. So now they have their own thing going, and now they're expanding.
Oh.
It's kind of like the pie can grow.
I know.
And so they're able to make more, but they've learned, and we have a model. We've learned over the years, so we could help them not have to go through all the pain.
Right.
There's pain and growth sometimes. So, I would say, and we have our outreach is a lot, but as far as our trade partners within our network, it's at least 50 or more. Right. As we continue, they're growing too. So I kind of feel like they're part of the Lock ecosystem.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, we're very excited to have you, and it's an honor to be able to support you in a small way. All the hard work is you and your leadership team and your employees. So we'd just be honored if we could get a photograph with you before you leave. And, if you need, one last question I had for you, which intrigued me, is you put the roof on, the sheeting on, and then you jack it up, which is a different method. Can you talk about that?
It is, yeah. Well, back at the beginning, and I wore a tool belt for 15 years. You know, that's how we started, me and a truck and a guy. But so we used to do it different, and a lot of guys still do it that way. You know, where you would some people just use truss, cranes and whatnot. Well, anything that you could do on the ground, you could do faster.
Right.
And pole buildings, it's not like a normal traditional house with walls and you get things level and plumb. Here you got poles that move around and things like that. And so instead of trying to use cranes and boom lifts and things like that, if you could do it on the ground, this is about 10 generations, by the way, of doing it one way and then doing it better. And you came up with this whole exotic system and, well, that didn't work, let's start over. And then you keep going. So it's just you build the system, and we've developed hoists, and we give all that technology to anybody. We want them to, even if they don't buy from us, we still want to help them. So, and they see our videos anyways. But yeah, it's a unique system with hoists, and it's really quite interesting. We've done it, like the 80 by 200 foot building. That's pretty big. It's not a little garage, and tall. 2 people built the whole thing. And they literally, the whole roof system, they could build all underground. Well, we moved the trusses in because they were big, like 80 feet. So we moved them in with that. And then they were able to assemble the entire building. 2 guys put in all the boards. I mean, it took a lot longer than if you had more people, right? But the idea that you could build something of that caliber with only, and then you get it up and you just pull the chain. It's real easy. It's like just using leverages and hoists.
Right, smart.
And it's like you pull four or 5 pulls and you go to the next pull and you do it like this. And it takes a little longer, but we've developed, and it's safe too. And you're not up on ladders and everything. Everything's on the ground. You can see they put the plywood on, and it didn't happen just instantly. It's a generation. You just have to keep striving to improve. And
Was
so
that
it's
your
funny,
i-
you see,
was
look
that
at-
your idea though?
Well,
I've never heard of it.
I mean, you just have to always be thinking outside the box. What can we do different? What are we not doing? And you watch videos, but you just always are thinking. And I pray too. I do. I ask for help, and I get ideas, and we try them, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and you just keep going, and eventually end up with something pretty good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Commissioners, can we go get a photograph? And we'll do that right now if we could.
Of course, it's exciting.
No, I haven't. Connecting a little more. Martha in the back.
I'll scoot this way towards Commissioner Schrader. There we go. We like each other. All right. Perfect. Gotta come check it out.
I will.
Thank you, Steve. That's nice.
Getting better.
Yeah.
All right, Gary, what's next?
Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Consent agenda for the Board of County Commissioners. Item A, elected officials. 1, approval of previous business meeting minutes for the Board of County Commissioners. 2, approval of a subrecipient agreement with the Children's Center of Clackamas County for forensic evaluations, victim-focused support services, and coordinated investigation assistance. Agreement value is $26,494 for 1 year. Funding is to the Oregon Criminal Justice Commission Justice Reinvestment Program. No county general funds are involved. 3, approval of a subrecipient agreement with Northwest Family Services for community-based victim services. Agreement value is $50,398.49 for 1 year. Funding is to the Oregon Criminal Justice Commission Justice Reinvestment Program. No county general funds are involved. B, Health, Housing, and Human Services. 1, approval of a goods and services contract with Verathon for video laryngoscopes and associated accessories. Total agreement value is $350,000 for 3 years. Funding is to the American Medical Response Ambulance Services Agreement. No county general funds are involved. 2, approval of a grant agreement with the Oregon Housing and Community Services for eviction prevention and diversion funding. Agreement value is $608,284 for 1 year. Funding is through Oregon Housing and Community Services. No county general funds are involved. 3, approval of an amendment to a provider participation agreement with Care Oregon for behavioral health services, including mobile crisis walk-in clinic, and peer support. Amendment value is $7,169,936 for 1 year. Total agreement value is $21,799,018 for 3 years. Funding is the Oregon Health Plan. No county general funds are involved. 4, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Human Services for Medicare beneficiary educational outreach. Agreement value is $12,300 for 1 year. Funding is the Oregon Department of Human Services and $1,280 of budgeted county general funds. 5, approval of a grant application to the Oregon Criminal Justice Commission for enhancement of the Second Chance Employment Program to reduce recidivism. Application value is $400,000 for 15 months. Funding is the Oregon Criminal Justice Commission. No county general funds are involved. 6, approval of an amendment to an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority for time extension of behavioral health housing investments. Amendment value is 24 months. Total agreement value is $4,704,837.17 for 5 years. Funding is the Oregon Health Plan. No county general funds are involved. 7, approval of an amendment to a provider agreement with Care Oregon to update the payment schedule for outpatient mental health services at county health centers. Amendment value is $285,176.73 for 6 months. Total agreement value is approximately $30 million for 6 years. Funding is through Care Oregon. No county general funds are involved. 8, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Clackamas Fire District Number 1 for paramedic response times. Total agreement value is $2,173,459.83 for 10 years. Funding is to the American Medical Response Agreement's cost savings provision. No county general funds are involved. 9, approval of an amendment to a revenue intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority for reduction of maternal public health service funds. Amendment value is a reduction of $1,774.50 for 1 year. Total agreement value is $6,431,362.61 for 2 years. Funding is the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. 10, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Molalla to minimize adverse impacts to the City and Fire District of Molalla for the Molalla Apartments Payment in Lieu of Taxes Agreement. Agreement value is $7,078.59 for 5 months. Funding is through county general funds. Mr. Chair, that concludes the Board of Commissioners' consent agenda.
Thank you, Andrew, for going through this so quickly. And do any of my colleagues wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, may I have a motion?
Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Commissioner West has moved to approve the consent agenda as read. Commissioner Schrader has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Andrew. I'll now recess as the Board of Commissioners and convene as the North Clackamas Parks and Rec District Board of Directors. Gary.
Next is the consent agenda for the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District Board of Directors consent agenda. Item A, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for a Trails Network Plan grant. Agreement value is $341,357 for 15 months. Funding is the Oregon Department of Transportation and a required match of $35,057 of North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District staff time. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District Board of Directors consent agenda.
Thank you. Any directors who wish to remove any items? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
I move we approve the NCPRD consent agenda.
Second.
All right. Director Helm has moved to approve the consent agenda. It's been seconded by Commissioner West. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Director Schrader.
Aye.
Director Savas.
Aye.
Director West.
Aye.
Director Helm.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you again, Andrew. I'll now adjourn as the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District Board of Directors, reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners, and I'll turn to Gary.
Thank you, Chair. Next is the County Administrator update. That's me. I'd like to recognize our county employees for the work they do during my time. Today, I want to recognize the staff of the county's Women, Infants, and Children Program, or WIC, W-I-C. It's located in our Health, Housing, and Human Services Department. WIC helps low-income women, infants, and children by providing nutritious foods, breastfeeding support, and health resources. Our WIC office has started receiving survey evaluations from clients who are served, and our staff is getting a lot of positive feedback from the community. And some of the highlights of what has been shared about our staff is, I appreciate the friendly staff and awesome service. I feel comfortable and confident speaking to all county staff. Next, WIC has helped me in nutrition support for my toddler and helping me keep in mind the foods that matter the most. Next, all the WIC staff I've encountered, whether in person or on telephone appointments, have been kind and supportive. They've shared knowledge that I needed as a new mom. Thank you to our incredible staff in the WIC program at the county to helping our community members who need the help. Next, as a update, commissioners, you will not have a business meeting for the following 2 weeks. There is no business meeting on Thursday, February 19th or Thursday, February 26th, because a quorum of you will be attending the National Association of Counties Legislative Conference during those dates. Therefore, you will next meet as a board on Thursday, March 5th at 10 a.m. for your next business meeting. That is my update today. Thank you, commissioners.
All right, now's the time for commissioner communication, and I'll turn to my right. Commissioner Schrader.
Okay, thank you. Chair, I've got a little frog in my shirt today. Speaking of the National Association of Counties, I'll be having a meeting today with the women of NACO because they're putting together a leadership program for youth. And they know I'm a teacher and actually have a current teaching certificate, believe it or not. I've always kept that going. And I'm going to be working with youth at the national level to teach them about counties. Because what we're trying to do, I think, is to have a pipeline of young people who are interested in public service, and particularly counties. And the one fact I always like to convey to people is that we are the oldest level of governance in the United States of America. It was in Virginia in the 1600s. And counties are based on the shires of England, hence the word sheriff. Okay,
Right, I get that.
But I'm really looking forward to that piece of it because I think our level of government is so diverse with what we do, to tell people about how we do it, what we do. We do everything from parks to roads to infrastructure to economic development. You see it here in these meetings every day, the diversity. And we deal with the public with some pretty thorny problems, which is what we saw today as well, with the power issues that are going on right now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I think that for some of you, it's your first time going to NACO, I think. Okay, you're going to have a good time. It'll be great. You get to learn lots of things from lots of other colleagues across the nation, and it's very energizing when you want to come back and get back to work here in your home county. So,
Thanks, Martha.
all right.
Thank you. Commissioner Savis.
Yeah, I'll be brief. Yesterday, I attended the Mount Hood Rest Area meeting in Sandy. Usually it's up at Timberline. And we had it's a pretty big table. We have the Forest Service. We have a department called the OTIC, which is the Oregon Travel Information Commission, or Council. And ODOT was there, a number of others. It partially seems to be obviously to ask for money. And I was able to have a conversation last night with ODOT about how we can build some of this stuff. There's capital, there's operations cost, and so forth. So I hope to be able to bring that back to some degree and figure out what we can do from the transit standpoint, what we can do from the building standpoint. 2 buildings is the issue really is the rest area and the change that's going to happen there. So the rest area, as we know it today, at government camp is going to go away. And they're working on siting 1 or 2 sites perhaps to put the new rest area. So it takes capital for that. It also takes apparently the biggest expense is going to be moving the power lines or moving power to it. estimated to be for the ideal site, $20 million to move power to it. Because they need to do it underground by the local standards. They can't do it above ground. It's got to be below ground. Dear God. So to underground that for 5 miles, I believe, was $20 million. Don't quote me on the mileage, but you can quote me on the number. The other thing that's going to happen is closer towards the Welch's area is going to be what's called a transit hub. We got an award for some of that money from our federal delegation. But they'll still need monies to operate that and also operate a local rest area. So not really a rest area, but a bathroom facility in the government camp commercial area. So that's another facility that needs operations and maintenance money. So we're working to see if the businesses, the business community could pick up that cost. I know it's something we can't do. And I expressed that to some folks on one-on-ones as we're trying to get a grasp on how we approach this budget year. I'm sorry I couldn't be here Tuesday morning. I wish I was. And I know I left here last week and we were 991,000 in the red, and today we're about 5 million in the red. So that concerns me. I don't know where the money's going to come from, but get ready to roll up your sleeves on finding where that money's going to come from. I'm kind of exhausted, frankly, on that topic, but I'm still working at it, and I believe that the money is there. It's not in the general fund. I believe it's sitting there in different buckets of money in the sheriff's department, frankly, to cover it. But if we need it, we need it. I get that. And I have more questions, and I just want to let you know I'm still waiting for some answers on some of those questions. And I want to appreciate Tony and Gary helping try to get some of that information, but I do need CCSO's cooperation to get the remainder. I yield back.
All right. Commissioner West.
Thank you, Chair. I want the board to be ready to have or start having a conversation about how we adjust our regional approach with SHS, the homeless crisis, and all the human services and behavioral health issues. I want to thank Mayor Wilson for a lovely evening. It was a late evening for both of us because the shelters opened late, so we had some Chinese food, and I appreciate the dinner from the mayor. Met with one of his service providers at a local church in East Portland. Spent some time at the shelter that they do nightly at that church, and their family side for to shelter those that have families, parents with children or minors in a separate area. They really do, it's quite a stand-up job. You know, I have been, and I think rightfully so, very critical of Portland, and at times saddened and angry and ashamed and exasperated and all the things that many people have felt about the issues in Portland. I do want to be fair, though, that there has been in the last year some real improvement under the leadership of Mayor Keith Wilson, and his also concerted effort to engage in a proactive way with the business community. He is so optimistic, it's almost infectious about the city of Portland. Sometimes it's like, I don't know if you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing, but his optimism is sometimes heartening. And he really has implemented in many ways within his administrative ability as the mayor, specifically his office, not the city council necessarily, things that we've done that has caused us to be successful in Clackamas County under the recovery-oriented system of care. And I can see with my own eyes where there's evidence of improvement, and there's more work to be done, and he is aware of that. He has really moved away from overt housing first type policy. There's tension, very severe tension between him and Multnomah County because of Multnomah County's specific policies that are not in alignment with what we're doing in Washington, Clackamas, and under his specific administration. We are going to have start having an additional conversation around what SHS looks like moving forward, if it's even renewable, what the public is going to tolerate. And I think the mayor is reaching out to us genuinely to find collaboration. And he is very, very supportive of the work we've done in Clackamas, and is genuinely looking for serious partners that have been successful in moving away from those within the region and that have not necessarily, not like closing the door on them, but looking to like continue to advance. I asked him, what does success look like another year from now in Portland, and what outcomes and numbers should we be seeing specifically? And he didn't, all too often in this region, people like leaders and elected shy from answering that actual real basic question. He did not. I think there's a lot of like common ground between where he's wanting to lead the city and then what we've already been doing here and has been successful. So I don't know what that regional approach is, but nobody is successful in the state, and we can only be so successful if Portland continues to struggle. And if we have a strong partner in the administrator executive portion of the city, which is the mayor's office specifically, and I'm being very specific to the mayor's office, I think we need to talk about how that strategically looks. I know we're not making decisions today, but Chair and the board, I would like to offer an audience to the mayor of Portland to come and present to us where he's going, the direction, and the partnership he's looking for, not just with us, but with other competent regional governments. We also are going to see, I think, in the future, we need to pay very close attention to the Moda Center. Testimony happened yesterday morning that was very important. We should all be listening to the Moda Center testimony about what the state's going to do. That impacts SHS funding too, by the way, by millions. And I had a long conversation with President Peterson from Metro yesterday. But as we move forward in maybe the next phase of this recovering the Portland metro area, and we have a large seat at the oversight committee for HSS, and we're building coalitions and voting and oversight and how we move forward and how we regain public trust that's been eroded. I really want to broaden that conversation. There's elections going on. We may see a different makeup of the Washington County board, but I think that there is a strong coalition between Clackamas County, Washington County, Metro specifically in the council, and the new most likely incoming president, and the mayor's office specifically in Portland. I think there's a powerful coalition there. It's gonna be a shift. And so I think we just need to maybe really jump in together and explore. So I don't know, Chair, you control the agenda. I don't know what the board feels, but I like us to sooner than later to invite Mayor Wilson to come in and to speak to all of you publicly about, I don't know if it's a work session or an issues or whatever, about his goal, his vision, and his partnership with our organization. So I'll leave it at that. I know it's a little long-winded, but it's exciting. It's a little tenuous. I have trust issues around this, like all of us should. We need to be guarded. But I think that there's something we really need to be open to.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Cheryl.
Thank you. Just to tag on, I think that the other counties are seeing what we're doing well.
Yeah.
And I think we should share our good ideas. And it's not a county problem, it's a regional problem. It's a state problem.
Yeah.
So I'm all about collaboration and sharing what we know to be good and to help our neighbors. So I think that's a great idea. This morning I attended Good Morning Damascus. I live in Damascus. And they have a little local business meeting once a month. Sometimes I'm able to make it, sometimes I'm not. This morning they highlighted, and I want to put this out there because I'm a big supporter of local businesses, small businesses especially. Damascus Open Studios is a arts program that they have. The third weekend in May, these artists who are, it's kind of cute, they said it's a group of introverts is what they are, because they generally work in their studios by themselves, but once a year they open their studios to people to come through for the weekend. So it's really cool. There's quite a few local artists, and then they invite guest artists from other areas to come to their studios too. So it's all types of mediums. It's wood, it's glass, it's acrylic, it's clay, And they have an interactive on their website, which is DamascusOpenStudios.com. They have an interactive Google map where you can plug it into your phone, and it'll take you to each artist studio, and you get to kind of go on a little tour of Damascus roads that you haven't been on, that have generally you felt like you might get shot if you go there, and now they're open for people to come and visit. So it's a great. I've been to this before. I have attended it several years, and it's just a great way to support local artists and stuff. And there's some beautiful artwork out there, really beautiful artwork that people do. So that was this morning, and my ride-along that I talked about the other day was canceled, and now it's back on this morning. So supposedly I'm still doing my ride-along this afternoon at 2 p.m. With the Clackamas County Sheriff. So I'll let you know how that goes. Wish me luck. Back to you, Chair.
Well, hopefully you have a good time out there.
Yeah,
It'll
good
be
time.
exciting.
I don't know.
All right. Just a couple of quick updates. Friday, Senator Merkley had a town hall at North Clackamas High School and had a pretty significant turnout. Prior to that meeting, he met with a number of local elected officials, and I want to give a shout out to Shay James, the superintendent of North Clackamas Schools, who was hosting it. Our county elections clerk was there, ESD Larry Didway, Mayor McGriff, Sean O'Neill, Lisa Beatty, and a number of state reps. And it was a chance to really talk about our priorities. And interesting, Paul, we did talk about the Mount Hood Transit Project and how they gave us $500,000. And that bathroom you talked about up there, that thing is used like 3,000 times a day or something. It's just off the charts. And so it is much needed. I actually, it does seem a lot to get power there, though, as you can mention. So, and the other thing, Ben, too, is talked about the $2.5 million for the recovery campus, made sure that we appreciated all that effort. So was enlightening to kind of hear some of the things and a lot of the public input and questions they had from the audience. So, and what else? I had a conversation yesterday with Danielle Bethel, Commissioner in Marion County, really more discussion about the recovery campus, and she has mentioned she's talked a lot with you about it. She actually saw a presentation about it, was very impressed. So just talking about any kind of collaboration that might happen on that front. So that was really, and then I have the Tri-County Chairs meeting today, and the kind of the final thing I wanted to say, and that February 12th is actually Giving Hearts Day, and that's really kind of about opening your heart and make a difference. And this is Giving Hearts Day. Your kindness can change the world. It can change one heart at a time. And I really do believe that one person can make a difference. And I recently became aware of something that, boy, I was like over the top impressed. And there's this really just tragic disease. It's called EB, epidermolysis bullosa. And what it is a genetic disorder caused on the skin and the membrane. Can be extremely fragile, blistering. Kids suffer it. And what really kind of just inspired me about one person can make a difference is there's medical aid foster parents, and this medical foster parent took this child in who was a foster kid who had this horrendous disease, and was really there for this child. And I was so impressed, she actually took another medically fragile child in, and just the amount of work. And that's where I just say is like, hey, there's one person really making a difference, and all of us can in little ways and in big ways. So just want to thank all those people that step up all the time to do those kinds of things. It really kind of hits to the heart of what children mean to all of us. So anyway, that's it. And on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, I just want to thank you for joining us today. And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.